Hello again and welcome to another Mordian Glory Old World video. In today's episode we shall be doing another after action report. So Alex and I have just finished up the battle report with the Empire versus the Chaos 1250 points, the Khorne Warband versus the Empire State troops. And it was an incredible battle that we both learned a lot from. And we wanted to share those deep thoughts with you guys, deep thoughts, think coats with you guys. Yep. And but just to let you know that there will be spoilers in here. So if you haven't seen that battle report, I'll make sure there's a link to it at the end of this video and down the description. So please check it out, unless you're not too bothered about the spoilers. Now the theme for today's after action report is chaos. My God, our first impressions of chaos. Well, my first impressions, and Alex, you've got 4 or 5 games under your belt with them now, and just generally how the faction felt, and just getting into what we think worked, what didn't work, what was terrifying, and what we'd sort of changed and all that kind of good stuff. And we'll also be dipping into what it felt like playing against the Chaos with a faction like the Empire. So Alex, why don't you start us off with your just first impressions of Chaos, and then how you felt it sort of to fight against the Empire and stuff like that.
Yeah, sure, man. First things first. Obviously, Chaos is such a diverse army. You can play them pretty much any way you want to, provided that you don't want to have any missile attacks. It's pretty much the gist of it. Like, I read a Goonhammer article that summarised the faction, and one of the first things they said was get used to not using the ballistic skill profile on your profile, because you don't have many range attacks. But what you lack in range attacks, you more than make up for in combat if you can get into your fights. I'd say so. With my army, I've gone for a Khorne leaning, but I'm not entirely into going fully for Khorne. I've got some undivided stuff, because undivided is good.
For the viewers back home, explain what the Mark of Khorne does and the Mark of Undivided, and why you put that mark on each unit.
Yeah, sure. So Mark of Khorne is pretty straightforward. Gives you Frenzy, so you're immune to psychology. You get +1 attack on your profile, but you have to charge if you can. So you can get led by the nose quite easily. But importantly, you only get that until you lose a combat, and if you lose a combat, you lose Frenzy. But importantly, one of the things that came up in our game that I didn't really appreciate, because my first game I played with this arm was against Bretonnians. They didn't really have much shooting. Is that I don't care about panic from casualties.
Yeah, that's huge.
Because I'm frenzied.
So normally, if I do, it's not even that many. If I do 25% casualties to you in shooting, and I believe that's in a turn. I don't think it's in an instance like with bot action. I think it's in a turn.
Yeah, turn. Yeah.
Then your unit has to take a panic check. Now, when Alex is running around with units of 12 dudes, and I'm putting out 20 archer shots and a couple of cannons, then typically I would be able to kill 4 guys, and leadership 7 on a marauder isn't great. But you were just just kept charging at me.
They just don't care at all.
It was insane. I was grape shotting them, I was arrowing them, I was magic missiling them, and they just kept coming. It was to be on the receiving end of that much frenzy as a faction that like her to shoot. It was terrifying.
And I think this is the thing. And but I think that having a whole army with Mark of Khorne would be cool, but I think you need the utility of having units that you can reliably choose your fights a little bit better. So for example, having the Chariot that was undivided and having the Chaos Knights, Chosen Knights that were undivided was really useful. So what undivided does, so that's the one that you get for free. So it's baked into your cost, so you don't have to pay anything for it.
Yeah.
And it gives you a free reroll to any psychology checks, so panic, fear, terror, gives you a free reroll that's pretty damn good. And especially when you factor that into a lot of Chaos units, they either have a decent leadership, or you can take them in large numbers like Marauders, and then you're getting your leadership buffed by your ranks because they're warband. It gets, with a reroll to those fear checks and stuff, it's pretty good.
Warband's huge.
Yeah.
Warband,
Reroll charge.
You failed like over 3. Bear in mind, we did 1 battle report. We had sort of 2 practice games, and you failed maybe 1 or 2 charges over the course of literally dozens of charge opportunities.
And that was even when like I was having to like mess around, going slowly through trees and stuff like that as well. I'd say with the marks, I think Khorne is good fun, and also like visually, like, so the starter to my army. So I only started this army, at Christmas when I got this unit of Blood Warriors. They're an Age of Sigmar unit. My brother got me them for Christmas, and I was like, right.
He started you down the path.
Yeah, he started me down the path. I thought, right, cool, let's go. And the thing with Khorne, it's pretty straightforward, but it's got some. You've got to use your big 4D chess brain to try to make sure you don't get kited all over the place. I'd say that with the other marks are very good and definitely have some play. So, for example, the Mark of Zinch gives the unit magical attacks and flaming attacks, and if the unit's strength is 10 or more, any wizards that are in that unit get +1 to their casting. So there's a lot of talk about having, a big level 4 Zinch wizard with +5 to cast, and you could put a magic item on them as well that could mean that you could have a little cast bunker that's got +6 to cast. It's nasty.
Even more insane. I mean, it's obviously having level 5 wizard is pretty bloody good.
Yeah.
But being able to, in 1250 points, being able to have like a level 1 wizard, but you're essentially level 2.
Yeah.
Because you're not paying the points for that, and your character's normally quite expensive.
Yeah.
That's huge. That's points efficient. Or being essentially a free level 3.
Yeah. If you're level
in
2,
1250 points, where most people are best at bringing in level 2.
Yeah.
Maybe some factions obviously will lean straight level 4, boom. But most people in a normal sort of pickle game will be like, it's 1250. I'll take a level 2 wizard kind of thing.
It is
so
cool.
That's huge. Yeah.
Yeah. To quickly go through the other marks, so you can have Mark of Nurgle, that is really quite interesting. Mark of Nurgle means that your opponent has to re-roll hit rolls of a 6 against them. That is big. Like, so most of your army's toughness 4 if you lean into the Chaos Warriors. So you're like, great. So you're winning me on 5s, any 6s you get, you have to re-roll. It basically nullifies poison against you. That's
huge.
Pretty decent. I mean, I've not seen much
fair, you shouldn't be able to
poison.
Nurgle. You shouldn't be able to poison Nurgle people. They've got no veins, all coagulated.
Yeah, exactly. So that's pretty nasty. Especially on like if you put that on like Chosen Knights and stuff, that'd be really cool. And then Mark of Slanesh is quite an interesting one. So Mark of Slanesh gives you're immune to panic just completely. So yeah, don't do panic. Panic, completed it.
Completed it, mate.
Yeah, exactly. But also, first round of combat, +1 initiative. So it doesn't matter if you charge or if you get charged, you're getting that extra pip of initiative that can just, we were talking about this before, can just push you over the edge.
It means that if someone charges you with great weapons, you're going first.
Yeah, basically. Or if you have great weapons and you charge, you're still swinging it like initiative 5.
If you're charging elves, you actually still get to strike first.
Yeah.
Because a lot of elf units are either initiative 5 or initiative 6, and then they go up to a +1 initiative when they get charged.
Right.
Which makes them just horrendous.
Yeah, so like so marks, there's definitely some play. I think that like with all of them, you've got to build around them. I think my gut reaction is I think that Nurgle straight up is probably one of the better ones.
Okay.
Just because it's just the straight up it's a killing game. You're not going to get kited.
Yeah.
And it's one of these things where it's like, okay, I'm not going to get as many attacks out of the unit, but my guys are going to stick around for a lot longer because they're like, they're like sometimes half the successful hits against them are just going to have to be re-rolled. That's pretty nasty.
I can definitely see that because your guys, and this is something I really want to, you touched on before saying you felt like you had to be a little bit big brain, really not getting kited.
Yeah.
But I felt that for the majority of our games this weekend, your tactic was, I'm going to run at you. And joking aside, 60% of the time it worked every time.
Yeah, exactly.
And I had to, so I feel like Mark of Khorne is really, really good. But when you actually take a step back and you think, well, your stuff was, even without Mark of Khorne, was probably out killing me.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, yeah, go Mark and Khorne, but you're probably just leaning more into a combat you were already going to obliterate your opponent in. So if you go Mark of Nurgle, it's like, well, my base Chaos people are killy enough.
Yeah.
What they lack is maybe a bit of armor, a bit of durability. Okay, well, maybe I'll just make them all tough. So now I've got an army which is most of the time going to outfight whatever it gets to because I'm Chaos. And then also now it's actually really durable.
Yeah, I think Mark of Nurgle on like a Chaos Lord who's like weapon skill 7 would like imprint the gods. He could get up to weapon skill 8, weapon skill 9 like he did in our game.
Oh.
Like, can you imagine you're hitting him on 5s and any 6s you have to re-roll? It's like you're just not gonna. You're just not gonna get him.
That's usually base weapon skills 5 on your warriors.
Warriors, yeah.
So people are always hitting you at best on 4s, and sometimes even like gobos and stuff. Yeah. And Bretonnian peasants, who are going to be very, very common because Bretonnians are going to be the #1 common army.
Yeah.
You immediately start. They're hitting you on 5. So yeah, Bretonnian peasants are like jab. Just basic warriors of chaos just aren't doing it.
Yeah, and it's interesting because like with the way that the index, kind of index type rules we've got in Ravening Hordes, like they have, there is some stuff where they've said so you can't just do whatever you want with the marks. So for example, if a unit has a mark, it can't join a unit that doesn't have the same mark. So if you've got, and vice versa. So if you've got a mark of undivided guy character, you can put him in a unit of Khorne. However, if you've got a guy who's got the mark of Nurgle, he can't go in a unit that's got like another mark on it, right? So that is. But apart from that, like the magic items, there's no items that are locked to like certain builds and things like that. You can just sort of mix and match how you want to there. And there is some kind of pretty cool stuff you can do with it. So there's a magic standard, the Banner of Rage, for example. I think it's like 35 points, and it gives the unit Frenzy.
That's huge.
And they can never lose the Frenzy as well. So what I've seen some people do is they go, right, Mark of Nurgle, big block of warriors, and then I'm going to give them the Banner of Rage. They also have Frenzy. And it's just like, cool, I'll have my cake and eat it. I'll be tough, and I'll also kill you as well. Like,
jeez.
I've seen some lists where people take like, it's like, oh, I need to take 25% core. Right, I'll take one block of 40 Nurgle warriors with shields and heavy armor. And
see, I think that's too much.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot.
And just sort of, and I want to. Speaking of units and core stuff like that, this is perfect segue, as it were, to the Chaos Core, which is now. This is going to be my 6th game of Old World.
Yeah.
The first one I did Bretonnians versus Goblins. The second 2 I did Empire versus Goblins. And then obviously we've done 3 games this weekend of Chaos. Yeah. And the difference between your core and everyone else's core is wild. Your units went in there and were killing stuff.
Oh yeah, without any support, without magic
support. Without any magic support, without any character support. My units, even when led by my top general, could not match your killing power.
Yeah,
they couldn't equal your killing power.
Yeah, it's especially like, well, my thoughts. So when I used these guys before, like when I had my first game with them, I put like my guys with great weapons in one big block. But the problem I had with that is it's like, well, I was like, oh, it'll be good because I'll get to fight. And then I'll be like, cool, and I'll remove their front rank, and then they'll be able to fight me back, and then I'll have some rank bonuses to seal the deal. But I'm sort of like, but when you take an army that relies on killing something, extra ranks
mean nothing.
It's just wasted, yeah. It's wasted fighting rank, basically.
Yeah, you did your combat res at no point came from ranks or anything.
No.
And you were consistently winning combat.
Yeah.
Everyone's out there going, oh, you'll start a combat with like 5 with your ranks and your close order and your banner and some other thing.
But when I kill 10, I don't care.
But when you kill 10, you don't care.
Yeah, it's like, it's just what happens.
You just don't care. It's wild.
It was a bit of a meme because like all my like marauders are like bloody, like they look like they belong on the front cover of like an 80s metal album of some sort. So like when they get, they've not paid for, I mean, I have the option of paying for armor, but as I said, Tim's like, you don't need armor if the enemy's dead.
And shooting doesn't do that much, and you're going to get the charge off.
Yeah, I took it as I thought it up as a bit of a meme, and I thought, I'll look forward to putting the models on it from a modelling standpoint, and also from a bit of a meme. But actually, it does actually work as well. Like, I wouldn't want any bigger units than this 12 man because I think that was just enough for it to be like. you don't basically. The Marauders are cheap enough that I don't care if you kill them, but you also don't want to be charged by them by something important.
No.
Like, it's the thought process I had behind these guys. Essentially, it's like if someone like rolls up a unit of Bretonnian Knights, I'll go, cool. I'll move them up within charge range of the Knights, and then be ready to countercharge the Knights when they inevitably charge the Marauders and overrun a bit, or get themselves into my charge range.
Well, if we look at a unit of let's just do quick napkin math hammer here.
Yeah.
You have a unit of your 12 Marauders in your 2-rank formation.
Yeah.
And you get, which is about 120 points. You get charged by a unit of Knights of the Realm. The six of them. Now they're 24 points each.
Right. Okay.
Now they might have full command, so that's going to cost a bit more. That's like a 144 point unit, roughly.
Yeah.
If they want to match you, it would actually look point for point. They're going to have to go Knights Errant. But let's just presume they've gone for Knights of the Realm.
Yeah.
Now they charge you. They get 5 attacks.
Yeah.
They hit on 4s.
Because I'm weapon skill 4.
Because you're weapon skill 4. So even being generous to them, they get 3 hits, and they're going to wound you on 2s.
Yeah.
But let's say they drop one of them, because we were nice to them the first time, we'll be horrible to the Bretonnians the second time.
Yeah.
They kill 2 guys. The horses hit you with like the same attacks, maybe kill 1 more.
Yeah.
You then turn around and you've got a champion.
Yeah.
And you've got 2 of the guys, 7 attacks.
Yeah. And I'm hitting them on 4s. I'm winning them on 2s, but I've got armor pains. Now they're going to be getting, they're going to be getting a 5 up, 5 up, because then assuming they've prayed. But still, like, each failed save drops a whole night.
Yeah.
And they're going to have a bad time, basically.
And that's when they charge you.
Yeah, that's the thing. The idea with these guys is, in my head, was like, if there's a unit of cavalry that I want to kind of, because the thing is, you want to make, it's the whole thing of like, you want to make dilemmas, not problems for your opponent, right?
Yeah.
A problem has
a solution.
A dilemma has multiple solutions. None of them are good. None of them are good, basically.
Yeah.
And the dilemma for that I had in mind for setting with these guys is, I go, right, put them in front of your Knights. It's like, right, you definitely don't want these to charge you, because I'll go first and utterly butcher you.
Yeah.
However, if you charge me, I'm going to kill a couple of you, and then I'm going to countercharge you, and then you're going to have a bad time.
But even if let's say they killed 3 of you, and you strike back with your 7 attacks, and you hit with 4, and then you drop 1, you wound 3, and then between the 5 up and the 5 up, I think they save one of the armor save. It's touch and go. They save one of the ward save.
Yeah.
So you killed 2 back. So you're going to lose combat, but you've killed 2 Knights.
Yeah.
And the break check isn't that bad.
Yeah.
What's the leadership of a Chaos Lord like? 9?
Yeah.
So leadership 9. You probably lose the combat by like 3.
So I lose my frenzy at that point, but at that point I don't really care. Like, I've done some damage, and then next round they're going to be strength 3. Well, I'm still strength 5.
Yeah.
I'm just going to batter them. Like, it's like I say, it started as a meme, but it does do some work, I think.
Yeah, 100%.
Also, these guys, in a meta where I think a lot of people are going to be really gravitating towards monsters, a bloody Chaos Lord doesn't want to get charged by these guys.
No.
A 700 Chaos Lord gets charged by these guys, like, unless he's got always strikes first or something, which he probably will have something, but still, he's going to...
Or strike at the same time.
You potentially strike at the same time, chip some wounds off him, like, he's not going to like it. Like,
so I think
medium-sized monsters.
Trolls you butcher.
Yeah, I think trolls and...
They're only T4.
Trolls and like the kind of unridden monsters like chimeras and stuff, I think these guys give a really bad time to. And that's the thing as well. Some people are going to spec into fear and terror. While I'm immune to psychology, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, they don't.
I'm going to terror bomb you. Good luck with that.
Good luck, yeah.
So I think what the main takeaway of that is even in their least ideal scenario, where they have been charged by cavalry, they go down swinging.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're cheap. If you compare that to one of my units, I don't kill any of those Knights. I don't do diddly to them. And it's like, okay, and then if you get into your ideal scenario, you go swinging. And I think, so basically what it kind of comes down to is, if you charge a unit of Chaos Warriors, and if you charge a unit of even the lowest people on the rung of the ladder of Chaos, don't expect to come out the other side of it unscathed. In a straight up, core v core fight. And if they charge you, well, pray to whatever god you believe in that they don't swing good.
Well, yeah, exactly.
That's literally it.
Exactly. I mean,
it's just horrendous facing these guys. Like, there was multiple times when, so in our first game that we played, I was quite passive, quite gun-liney. I kind of like, you charged me. And I didn't really try and do anything to avoid the charges. I kind of just sat there and thought, oh, I'll shoot the shit out of you and then mop up the scraps when you just table yourself on me. What happened was I did a lot of damage to you in shooting, and then you charged and butchered me.
Yeah.
And then it got to the second game. I was like, well, I'm going to be aggressive now. I'm going to charge you.
Yeah.
And then I got butchered in my own turn.
Yeah.
And so that third game was 6 turns of a slow, staggered retreat, firing, literally giving you no charges that you wanted.
Yeah, exactly.
And it was kind of then I was giving you the dilemmas, but I'd had to take 2 horrendous beatings to even have a chance. And that last game really should have been a draw.
Yeah. If things had gone like
you just hadn't failed. Yeah. So just like I said, big spoiler alert here. In the final turn of the game, for Alex to make the game basically a neck and neck draw, maybe like 10 points in it.
Yeah.
He just needed to not fail. Like one, he just needed to not fail more than 1 2-up save, and he had 4 saves to make. Statistically, he shouldn't have failed any of them. He rolled 3 out of 4 as ones.
Yeah.
So that just swung it.
Yeah.
And that just shouldn't have happened. So that's just like a fluke.
Yeah.
And United's been rolling dog all game.
Yeah.
Like,
they're rolling they should have been doing more.
Yeah.
You know.
So it was just one of the things where, the Knights were just a bit tired that game. They'd been doing great in the first 2. They just kind of were getting a bit knackered by game 3. But it's just insane, like how much. It sort of leads me on to my sort of what I was going to say is, Chaos, your tactic was ooga booga, run at you, choppy, amazing times. And that felt like a lot of fun, like trying to hold back the horde.
Yeah.
But in the third game, when I had to like fight for what should have been a draw, I had to pull out every trick in the book. I had to chaff you up. I had to never give you any charges. I was literally like retreating onto the high ground, like to the hill, don't, like that scene in Sharp where it's like, don't run away, men, don't let them know that you're afraid, slowly walk backwards, show for bayonets to the front. And that's like, I was having to do, exactly. And at that point I was like, like 1 unit Marauders that was forced charge would make it, 1 unit sort of wouldn't, or like physically would be out of charge range. And so there was like a point where like these Marauders charged in, because like my units were supporting each other, they ended up like connecting to 2 units. And then because I actually had an advantage in that fight, I was actually able to drive you back. And there was an example over here where your Marauders like charged in. That was the only fight I actually realistically won convincingly. Everything else was Marauders come in, I'm kiting you, I'm fleeing, I'm kiting, grape shot.
Yeah, basically. But the thing is, though, you were only able to do that because I couldn't roll above a 4 on my overrun as well. Do you remember?
Yeah.
That was one of the other few things that didn't go well for me when I really needed it to.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I think my luck was reasonably average across the game. To be fair, like I think 2
key bits where it plummeted.
Yeah.
But then I would say consistently it went as well as it should have done.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a 9-inch charge. I've made it.
Yeah, exactly. Especially with like the re-roll and things. Yeah. Like it's it's interesting. Like I think well, we're talking about this like between the turns and stuff like that. Like so I've got on my painting table, I've got like got a unit of 10 Marauder Horsemen. Now I've been telling Tim all weekend, Marauder Horsemen.
I know more than anyone should know about Marauder Horsemen.
Like they're so like them and Dragon Ogres. When I was looking at the list lineup, I was like, right, these guys look hard as nails. They're really useful. Like the Dragon Ogres, hard as nails because they're literally hard as nails. The Marauder Horsemen, hard as nails just because they're just so useful. They basically do what the Marauders do, but just faster, and they're not much more expensive when it's said and done. They're fast cavalry with Warband, so you're getting the reroll to your charges. They can take spears, they can take if you want spears, you give them flails like I've got on the ones I've made. Like flails, that's the other thing as well.
Ugh.
Flails are so good. Like I mean, the guys with the great axes, they do. I've built them like that because I use what they're modelled with, and also it's cool. And I'm like, you know what? I like the idea of being able to stick around and do, fight strength 5 every single turn. But I think flails
definitely the way to go.
Flails are very good.
With your army, you win the combat or you lose the game.
Yeah, exactly.
And so you never get into protracted fight.
Exactly. So like that's the thing. So like flails are very good
because it's not even like plus. It's not like a lance where you get +2 when you charge. It's just for +2 in the first round of combat.
And
so even if you follow up on a give ground, you still get it. Unlike with lances, whereas if you follow up once one gives ground, you don't count as charging. So flails are, in my opinion, cheaper and better than great weapons.
Yeah, they are good. Flails are very, very good. I think, I mean, you can put flails on most of my characters as well. Like, if I wanted to, like, I can put, like, a Chaos Lord with a flail that's hilarious, but also really good, because he doesn't really need the extra strength, but, like, the AP -2, just, like, every turn is amazing.
Yeah.
I'd say that, so with the, going back to, like, what I was saying about the Marauder Horsemen, you can give them javelins, throwing axes, and they're movement 8 with, like, fast cav, and you can skirmish with them if you want to. So
you can march and shoot with them.
You can march and shoot if they've got javelins. They've got fire and feed. They've got like such a list of rules, but they're the perfect and they're not special either, because sometimes like specialist cavalry can be in special. These guys are in core, so I think
Chaos Core is very good in every way.
Yeah, I feel like if I had some Marauder Horsemen to just seriously upset your chaff, and maybe if I'd swapped out some magic items so I could have like Ring of Ruin and stuff, then that would have really upset like your chaff, and it would have forced you to fight me straight up, which, as we found out from the other 2 games, doesn't work out for you, Tim.
It does not. So I guess so you struggled with my chaff in that 3rd game.
Yeah.
All I fed you was chaff.
Yeah, basically.
The whole game. But there was lots of other. Oh no, let me be clear. All I fed your chosen and your knights was chaff.
Yeah.
The Marauders I actually got into straight up fight with.
Yeah.
In a few different times. There's one time when my free company were like, "Ball them!" and like adventurous test and charged in. Just to dip over to the Empire side for a moment.
Oh yeah.
I found the free company to be fun and fairly effective, and at being 30 points when they failed an impetuous test and basically suicided themselves into some chaos. It wasn't the end of the world, because what they had done is they had effectively you tried to do like a long charge on them. They bottled one of you. Then they were forced to charge into you. For some reason they made it, even though it's like a 9-inch charge.
Yeah.
And then, or like an 8-inch charge or something. And then they actually cut 2 of you down.
Yeah.
And then you killed them. It's like, yeah, okay. My 5 free company killed like 3 dudes. But hey, they're only 30 points.
Yeah.
Not so bad. And then there was a time when like you, on the other flank, came after, the same thing. I ran up to you, bottled 2 of your guys. Then you charged me, and I bottled you again, chucking the glass bottles, chucking the cinder blocks at you.
Yeah.
And so it's you hit on like 6 with like multiple shots, like stand and shoot, but you just throw enough at the wall. And so I'm actually looking forward to getting more free company. They're very, very fun. They're very flavorful, and when they die, you don't care.
Yeah, I'll say.
And the levy, so you're just like, huh, lol.
So what about this, Tim? Is like a thing. If I had the list pretty much exactly the same way, but instead of taking a Chaos Lord for the same points, I think I could build a pretty tasty build, even with points for points.
Yeah.
If this guy was instead a Demon Prince with wings.
I don't think we'd be friends anymore, Alex.
Yeah, like the Demon Prince. I was like, we were sort of having a chat and stuff.
He's a full-blown Chaos Lord, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a Chaos Lord, so
he's gnarly.
Yeah, I think the Demon Prince is damn good. Like he's pretty tasty. Just the fact he comes with so many rules. Like he comes with a 4 ward save built in, and a 5 regeneration built in, and fear. It's
and a 5 armor save.
And a 5 armor save, yeah. It's
very, very good.
Very good, and and you can just go around. And again, the thing is like that Demon Prince. He's just gonna you shoot him with a cannon. Okay, well he's got a 4 up ward save, and he's got a 5 regeneration save as well. So
he's going to stop it. And I've got to not stick in the ground with my cannonball, which happened more than once. So it's like, but even with 2 cannons firing him, I'm presuming I can even fire at him every turn, because I get like 1 volley off him, and then he's in amongst me, and then it's just, even if I'm holding, it's just drive. Like, and I think that's one thing I do want sort of not necessarily talk about like with Chaos, but talking about we got a real good look at how combat worked.
Yeah.
And having like, I now kind of see like some of the, not like complaints people have, but like some of the observations people have made where when the combat joins, like that combat's going on until someone actually flees. Like, because what happens is someone falls back, you just follow up because you counter charging. Someone falls back, you just follow up because you counter charging. And so you're never getting the chance. I had a cannon lined up for the perfect grape shot, and I only fell back like 1 inch. It wasn't even good ground. I fell back 1 inch, or I was like a double one. So I couldn't even like have like a reasonable chance of like, ooh, just mosey on out of there, like grape shot you, because you knights went, oh yeah, I'm with you.
I'm still fighting you.
Yeah, so that was combat isn't like over in one go, and ironically, ultimately, those spearmen actually prevailed.
Yeah.
Because over successive turns of just starting, literally, guys, they started here, and between basically just giving ground 2 inches a turn, and even when I fell back, it was only like 2 inches. I just slowly, basically, I was losing ranks, but not losing the game, and then in the final round, I just got the spears through. The Chaos Armor finally could only take so many spear points, and it fell down. And I think maybe you should have. I think on average you would have probably lost 2 or 3 in that protracted combat. It was just the first 4 times we did it, I rolled badly.
Exactly.
But it's just like so. But yeah, it was amazing just to see like. It felt so good. I'm not just saying, even if I'd like lost and like been broken in the end, it felt so good like seeing a unit of like spearmen not get charged, not just break, not just flee in terror, but to actually do what spearmen feel like they're meant to do, which is just slowly grind it out, just wait for those opportunities, wait for those attacks to happen, and just it felt like what it would be like if you were trying to smash a big block of infantry. Whereas in 8th edition fantasy, what happens there every time is you hit me, I break, I die, I'm done.
Yeah, I feel like back in 8th edition, I remember what would tend to happen is you'd either charge in and just get yourself killed in your own turn
because of step up,
or you just completely annihilate whoever you were charging, and they just disintegrate, and that would be it. Like there wasn't any. I do like this kind of push and pull of how the combat works in Old World. It's good. Like I do enjoy it. I think. I think that I think things like chariots and monsters and stuff are better than they were before. And I think that's pretty much, no one was ever going to argue that they weren't. But I think it definitely is. Like I mean, I can't like things like having first charge on some key units as well is so good.
First charge, like the first 2 games, your first charge disrupted my spear blocks and I died. It was like playing 8th edition, and then for the battle report, it was like. I need to, no matter how many bloody peasants this costs me, how many levies this costs me, I need to get that first charge gone.
Yeah.
And fortunately, I was able to. Now, we've spoken a lot about Chaos.
Yeah.
But now I would like to pick your brains, Alex. As the Chaos player, what was it like going into the Empire? Was there what obviously, the first 2 games, I was still very much learning the army.
Yeah.
So, and I think you had your way with me.
Yeah. Slapped around.
Yeah. Not that I didn't enjoy it though,
Yeah.
But in that last game, where you were getting chaffed up a bit, and I was being a lot more careful with like I would say like active defense, as it were.
Yeah.
What did you feel about that game, and how did you feel like the Empire were doing stuff that they should have done, or did you still feel like it was a bit of a funny one?
Oh no, I think you played the game right, because as you found out, like fighting Chaos straight up in a straight up fight, you're just going to get utterly annihilated. Like the cannons, like kind of thinking, if you like, my impression of the Empire is if you're going to go into a straight up fight and expect to win, you better have some very, very good fighters. Like we've spoken about, like I think Flagellants and Demigryph Knights are like pretty much, if you want to have some proper fighter units, they're the ones you want to go for.
I think people are seeing the steam tank and going, ooh, tank.
Yeah.
And I think people are seeing the like the Hellblaster volley guns and the cannons and going, gun. But don't know, just let me know what you think. The cannons actually did very little.
So this is what I was gonna. That's what I was gonna say. Is like I think I still am a bit scared of cannons from back in 8th edition, because cannons used to be like oppressively good.
Yeah.
Like, and I think one of the reasons why fantasy, in the end, was a terrible ended up being a terrible game. Just cannons weren't the only cult, but there are a couple of things that made the game very unfun to play.
Because you could snipe characters out of units and everything.
You could snipe characters. Most monsters didn't have regeneration or ward saves, and so the only ones you ever saw were the ones that did. And any monsters that didn't have ward saves or regeneration literally weren't even. It's not that they were shelf tier. They were stayed on the stock in game.
They weren't on your shelf. They were on GW's.
They were on GW's yeah. And it was awful, because they had all these really cool models that they were making. They're obviously like making some good progress in, you know, sculpting these really cool monster kits. But no one was buying them, or they'd buy one and then never take it more than once because a cannon would just kill it. And I think it's weird. So I think the cannons are good. But I think I was like pre-voodooed about cannons.
Definitely.
I think I was a little bit more worried about it than I should have been. But you know that grape shot does work. Like
I think that's the number one reason to take a cannon.
Yeah,
the cannonballs will do a bit.
Yeah.
They're okay, but unless your opponent's taking a phenomenally deep unit, you're probably just not going to hit them, or you kill like one or two of them.
Yeah.
But the moment someone gets the 12-inch, you're just like grape shot, and if you weren't immune to sight, if you weren't frenzy, if these marauders had been any other Chaos God, that grape shot would have been game winning.
Yeah,
because every time you get close to me, I grape shot you.
And then they run away, basically.
Yeah.
I think, so that's the first thing. Cannons voodooed me a bit just because of the residue of 8th. However, going forwards, not going to be as scared of them, I don't think.
No.
I mean, they'll still do some work. Like, if they get like a couple of good hits on my knights, a couple of good hits on chariot, they're not going to like it. But, you know, at that point, you're spending double the points to shoot at something.
Yeah.
With the chariot, that is. I'd say that, I like how the spearmen have reliable combat res. That was cool.
It meant often I gave ground rather than fell back.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't win any fights. I didn't lose them as badly.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, you know, it was a staple as far back as I've been playing fantasy, like back from like 6th edition. Like the staple of having a battle standard bearer next to your general, so everyone in a nice big, you know, 12-inch bubble is getting that reroll, all important reroll panic check, and break test, and all important general's leadership.
Yeah, you need that 9-inch rerollable.
It's huge, and I think, you know,
it's not perfect. I did fail it once or twice.
Yeah.
But it's if I didn't have it, I couldn't play without it.
You know what I made me think. I would say in the same way that having a wizard with like elementalism, like wind blasting, will like mess some people up quite badly.
That was such a good spell.
However, I'd say if I had my own spellcaster who was doing like I can't remember what the name of the spell is. It used to be called Doom and Darkness. It's the one that basically like turns off your leadership essentially in your bubbles and stuff.
I had that to you, didn't I?
Yeah. It didn't really bother me that much.
You're in psychology.
Yeah, but it would really upset you. Like -2 leadership and not being able to use General's Mount. You basically auto breaks a unit once you hit them with something that's good.
And this is why I think I had a lot of fun with spearmen. But honestly, I think I'd rather have great swords.
Yeah, great swords are cool. I think this is the thing with the Empire roster, like, and I think we've been talking about this before, but I think that cavalry, just the ability, let alone the fact that cavalry is really hard as nails with its good armor.
I feel like
and the fact they can pick
is the addition of cavalry,
and they can pick their combats by virtue of having good movement. You can pick your combats better.
Yeah.
I think some Empire Knights wouldn't go amiss. I'd say
the core.
Yeah, exactly. Normal knights are core. That's pretty cool. I mean, my normal knights can be taken as core as well, but I don't get full plate armor on my core knights, where you do.
I think it's just heavy on the core knights, and it's full plate on the inner circle.
On the inner circle, okay, fair enough. But still, like, you know, I mean, that's kind of, it's cool that they've made that a bit standardised across the armies. But yeah, I think Spearmen were good. But I think the thing with Spearmen is you don't want to just take one unit. I mean, I guess you could use them as a character bunker and then have your actual fighting blocks like great swords going in and doing work. That would be pretty cool. Yeah, I think
great swords they're 11 points. It's not amazing, but it's 11 points for an elite infantryman.
Yeah, it's
which is actually, and I fancy a great sword chance versus a marauder better than a spearman. Yeah. Because you already hit me on 4s, and I actually get a save.
Yeah,
exactly. And even if you break me the first time, I'm stubborn. So I can actually go, ugh, and then, right, my turn.
Now we do an actual fight.
Now we do an actual fight, exactly.
Yeah, I think, you know what, I think having lots of little ranged units as like the chaff works really well.
Yeah.
Because they can do a little bit of chip damage here and there.
There was that one time when they fired over the course of like standard shoots and stuff like 7 arrows, which all hit but non-wounded.
Yeah.
And it was just like your berserkers were just like, it's just like Boromir. And imagine if Boromir was on Panzer Chocolat. That was basically what your guys were doing.
Yeah, Empire, like such a cool army. I really like the juxtapositioning of like our 2 color schemes as well, because they're both kind of striking in their own way, and just seeing them like clash into each other is just pretty cool. I'd say that with the one
question I would ask you quickly.
Go on, hit me with it, Tim.
Did you feel like generally Chaos felt more powerful than Empire?
I'd say in our games, yes, definitely, because you really had to like think carefully about setting me up to do what you wanted me to do, not what I wanted to do with my units. Whereas
it was the entire game that my entire game plan basically revolved around making it a bit harder for you.
Yeah, exactly.
And you still most of the time ran at me, but just making it a bit harder for you was all I could do.
Yeah, I think to kind of 100%. I think that's it. I think that's kind of how Empire. I think Empire are going to run these armies. They're a little bit like Guards. You've got to really. You can get some good mileage out of them, but the army's going to make you work for it, basically.
You're probably going to lose your first 10 games.
Maybe.
Lose your first 10 games, but you just... Because you probably... Actually, the better way of looking at it is, when you play Empire, you're probably going to lose the first game or 2 against a faction you've not encountered before.
Yeah, agreed,
because you won't know... Because you will need to have such good knowledge of what the enemy can do to try and, like, stop them.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you have that knowledge... you'll probably be able to win the game.
Yeah.
Because you'll know how to mess them up. But if you don't have that knowledge, you are going to struggle. So it's like, Alex was a great analogy with the Guard. When I go into a tournament with my Imperial Guard, I tend to, if I play Orcs, I tend to win the game. Because my local meta is filled with Orcs, so I have basically been pressured. If I'm not in triple figures by now, in competitive games, it's getting up there.
Yeah.
But I played against Necrons Necron Catan for the first time, and they just steamrolled me because I just couldn't judge it.
Yeah.
And I feel like Empire, because we don't talk about 40k really. I feel like Empire, it was just like I've got to work. The first 2 games I got absolutely smashed, and the third game it's like I now know what to do.
It's like
I know kung fu.
I was gonna say it's like it needs your editor to do like a video where it's like you're Neo in the chair like flailing around like bleeding everywhere, and then like stop it, he's killing it. And then the third game was like you getting up after Agent Smith's like shot you a load of times.
I will get Evan on that.
Stop it, he's killing him.
It's just like Trinity leans down. It's like, and it's just like me leaning down to the Empire Army.
I love you, Empire Army.
I love you, Empire Army.
And then just get up. I think I think and this is going to be a thing for like people that are getting into Chaos themselves. And I've sort of suspected this anyway, but just taking like basically 1 for 1, my units will just beat the crap out of your units. However,
I think they will beat the crap out of most people's units.
They get, but you need to connect, and you need to make sure you get there. And the way to get there and to make sure you connect is, maybe don't take that extra third block of Chaos Warriors, swap it for 3 Warhound units, or like, you know, 2 Warhound units and a unit of Marauders, and you will like upset people like even more.
You need to, so you, and this is, I think this we'll wrap it up in a moment.
Yeah.
I think with Chaos, you need some of your own. With Chaos, chaff is the key, your own and the enemies.
Yeah.
If you don't clear the enemy chaff, your very, very competent warriors spend the entire time beating up nothing burgers.
Yeah.
And if you have your own chaff, not only can you use that to counter the enemy chaff, but also you can use it, in the case of corn stuff, to stop people from kiting you. So you can have a concerted push. Because the first 2 games, you came at me in force. And the third game, I was able to actually, it was a single unit Marauders, and I just pulled them to one side, 1 of 3. And the other 2 were just doing what they wanted. Just pulling one to one side allowed me to just get a bit of breathing room. So yeah, when you are playing against or with Chaos, chaff is the key. Because, like you said, it's all well and good being the toughest, hardest bastard on the battlefield. But if all you're doing is clubbing seals, you're not, and it's not good. And if my final thoughts on Empire, from the Empire player perspective, against the Chaos, your shooting is not going to win you the game. What will win you the game, and unfortunately this isn't always going to be possible, is A, a bit of luck, and B, very cagey tactics. Because if you, upon sight of the enemy, I advance, sir, that's my style, sir, well then, you will lose the king's colours, and you will shame us, sir, and you will disgrace us, sir. But if you do essentially a bit of a bunker and a bit of a fighting retreat, and you can force the enemy units into not one-on-one combats, but sort of one-on-twos, or if it isn't one-on-one, it's like you've got 30 blokes and they've only got 6 left because you've actually managed to whittle them down. That's it. But Empire will not shoot people off the table. Your shooting simply allows you to actually do some damage, and your infantry can hold just enough so that you can kind of just grind it to the point where you get sort of a draw or a little victory. But that's with this kind of Empire army. Obviously, there'll be very different story if you're using lots and lots of monsters and cavalry and other bits and bobs.
Agree.
Right. And on that final thoughts, we'll wrap it up. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let us know what you think down in the comment section. How do you think that Chaos is going to evolve? How do you think Empire is going to evolve? And out of these 2 armies, which units are you most interested in? I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to smash that like button and also subscribe to never miss an episode. Would you like to know more? If so, then please consider becoming a channel member or patron. By supporting the channel, not only will you be doing your part, but you'll also be helping me create more content for your viewing pleasure and unlocking a whole host of perks. You get everything from a badge next to your name, custom emojis, but the big one is access to the Mordian Glory Discord server, an online community with almost 2,500 active members. It's always popping off in the MG Discord. We've got channels for army lists, hobbying, tactics, stories, and even a pretty spicy meme section as well. For all you greenhorns that wanted to see the Mordian Glory Hole, today is your lucky day. And joking aside, I do want to say a massive thank you to all of the current channel members and patrons. You guys are amazing. Truly the lifeblood of the channel. I could not do Mordian Glory full time without the incredible and generous support of my members. So thank you guys so much. And last but certainly not least, I want to say a personal thank you to all of my top tier Patreons. These are the War Masters, and they have truly gone above and beyond the call of duty. So a big shout out to Bon Bon Vert, Mad Larkin, Marcus Roberts, Mark Panconi, RJ Scorpion, Swordfish Trombone, John Stubbs, Nick Walsh, Diesel Fox, and August Varney. Thank you guys so much. Your incredible generosity is a massive part of how I'm able to do Mordian Glory full time, and it is a big driving force behind the channel. But I hope you all enjoyed today's video. Thank you for watching, and of course, as always, see you guys next time.